வணக்கம் என் உயிரினும் மேலான இனிய தமிழ் மக்களே, எப்படி இருக்கீங்க? This is your host RJ Venki with another edition of Southern Spice, the only Tamil program on FM and AM radio in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area. It's 13:10 a.m. in Parsippany, New Jersey, 96.7 FM in Edison, New Jersey, and 5:40 a.m. in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Also streaming live all over the world on Southern Spice USA Facebook and YouTube channels. So, as always, I've been conducting over the past couple of months a series of interesting interviews with overachieving high schoolers from Gifted Gabber, which is a program run by Coach Joe in Pennsylvania, and she has students all over the US and predominantly high school students. So one of those overachieving, high achieving high school kid is Lasya. Her full name is Lasya Nagaraju, and she is a rising senior. She's just getting into 12th grade uh, at Lambert High School. She has a very strong passion for health, equity, and medicine. So she aims to combine community service with health education and clinical experience, particularly in pediatrics. Lasya is committed to empowering children in underserved communities in Atlanta. That's where she lives. She focuses on teaching them about hygiene, wellness, and nutrition. So, alongside her community initiatives, Lasya also engaged in medical research and has authored a paper on therapeutic strategies for spinal muscular atrophy. For 11th grader, this is a lot. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and let's welcome Lasya. Hey, Lasya, welcome to Southern Spice.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I was amazed reading your bio, and you are now getting into 12th grade, but when you were 11th grader, you wrote that white paper. So we're going to come to that very, very shortly. But before we get into it, let's get to know you better. So start by telling us about yourself, please.
Sure. So I'm Lasya. I'm a senior at Lambert High School in Georgia. And I want to go into medicine one day. And what really drives me is the idea that healthcare should be a right and not a privilege, especially for youth communities. And I've been able to explore this passion through things like research. As you said, I published a research paper on spinal muscular atrophy, and also through service works with different organizations. And each experience, I think, definitely gave me a different lens and perspective on youth health, whether it was in regards to access to food or comfort items, even educational support. And outside of academics, I've been doing Indian classical dance and piano for almost 10 years. And they have taught me a lot about discipline, expression, resilience, and flexibility when things don't always go our way. And both have shaped how I connect with people, and they have taught me things that I carry into my health equity work.
Terrific. So what form of classical dance do you learn?
I learned Kuchipudi.
Kuchipudi, very nice. Fantastic. So you're kind of using the concepts that they're teaching there and applying it in your real life.
Yes, yeah.
Very nice. Fantastic. So how did your interest in health equity begin?
So I think it first started in 8th grade when I joined a school elective where I had the opportunity to work with autistic children. And I was just playing with them and just helping them learn basic academic concepts. And that was really my first glimpse into how different people experience care and support. And later in 9th grade, I actually had my very first volunteering experience. I had never volunteered before that, but I started at the Foster Care Support Foundation. And at first I was just given a simple task, just sorting and folding clothes. But it really made me realize that kids my age and even younger, they don't have basics like hygiene products or winter coats. And those are just things that I have really never had to think about. and I just have in my everyday life. So that moment really opened my eyes because it made me realize that health, it's not just about medicine and like diagnosing, it's about like dignity, having the dignity to have these products and also just having those everyday needs. And since then, I've built on that realization by leading service projects like donating wellness kits to foster care centers, and also through a leadership program with Pebble Tossers, organizing projects that focused on nutrition and mental health. And those experiences have definitely made my health equity journey not just an interest, but a responsibility and a passion for me.
That was beautiful. And that name, Pebble Tosser, sounds very intriguing. So you also, I read in your bio that you've been working to support underserved children in Atlanta. So tell us more about that. When did it start? What does it involve? And what impact it's had so far?
Yeah, so I started at the beginning of high school in freshman year, and I really just started small, just collecting like hygiene and period products for foster kids.
Mhm.
But I think from there it grew into something bigger. It developed into like organizing drives, collecting these materials from people in my community, and then going and delivering them to the foster care centers. And with Pebble Tossers, which is a nonprofit organization, I've also been able to lead projects and run like nutrition sessions, teaching kids how to read and decode food labels, because I think that education aspect is also very important. And with Meals by Grace, which is a food pantry near me, I've helped package and deliver foods to families. And I've also been able to provide handmade hats and comfort items to babies in NICUs with Mad Hatter Knits. And also, I've also been able to support kids academically with tutoring. And I think this impact that I've been making has been both immediate with kids coming to school more prepared, and also long term because they also start asking questions about their health and how they can improve their daily lives. And seeing that growth has also been really the most rewarding part.
And there should have been, experiences that kind of tugged at your heart, right, while you're doing this kind of work.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So, is there any experience that you can share?
Yeah, so during one of the feminine hygiene product drives, when I went to deliver the items, a staff member there, she actually told me that some of these girls, they were missing school every month because they didn't have these supplies. So I think that really made an impact on me because falling behind in school and just feeling ashamed, it really affects your mental health when you see the people around you have all these products, but you don't have access to them. And it's just all because of something so basic, not having them. And it made me realize that health equity isn't this like big abstract idea. And it's honestly just really about whether a girl can just show up to class with confidence and the supplies that she needs. So that moment made the work feel very personal to me.
Interesting. Okay. So, what are the some of the biggest health disparities youth face today, especially in the underserved communities that are being overlooked, right? And how do you respond to these kind of requirements and challenges?
Yeah, so I think the big one is definitely access to these hygiene and period products because people don't always realize how much, as I said, that affects education and mental health. Another one is also health literacy. Kids often aren't taught in school how to take care of their physical health and mental health and just how to care for themselves and make good choices around eating and things like that. And in my work, I've definitely tried to tackle both through those drives that help with the physical needs and
Mm,
also the seminars that help with the education aspect. So I think both matter because you definitely need the tools and the understanding.
correct. So, switching a little bit to the other part of the work that you did, you earlier we spoke about the medical research that you did and the white paper that you wrote, um, and that too you wrote it when you were in the 11th grade. It's I personally feel that's way too young to even have an understanding of these situations, issues, and concepts. So tell us about that. Tell us about how you decided to get into that in that space of health equity and write that white paper?
Yeah, so I think I've always known that I wanted to do research. And I think so, spinal muscular atrophy, which is the disease that I wrote my peer research paper on, it's actually very interesting. It's a genetic disorder that primarily affects children, and it actually causes like muscle weakness and even paralysis at a very young age. And I think writing that paper, it was definitely amazing to see all the new treatments coming out. But I also realized that many patients can't access these treatments because of cost or insurance. And I think that really stuck with me because even though science can make these huge advancements, if people can't benefit from it, it definitely feels incomplete. And that is also part of what led me to write this research paper. And also, it inspires me to work in research and public health in the future. So these discoveries actually reach the people that need them the most.
Is that publicly available if I want to go and read it?
Yes, it was published in the Journal of Student Research.
Okay, and what's the title?
It's Emerging Therapeutic Strategies for Spinal Muscular Atrophy.
Okay, perfect. So let's just assume a situation, a utopian situation where you have unlimited resources. Okay, whatever you need. What project or campaign would you launch to tackle health inequity on a larger scale?
Yeah, so I've actually thought about this a lot. And I think I'd want to create like a mobile youth health program. So some mode of transportation like buses, or even if it was more large scale, like planes that travel around the world or just even locally to different schools or shelters, underserved neighborhoods. And they would offer like checkups, vaccinations, hygiene products, even mental health support and nutrition support. And
Mhm.
I think the idea would just be to bring the care straight to the kids instead of them having to wait to go to a clinic or waiting for them to come to a clinic. And I definitely think healthcare should meet people where they are, and with the resources that they have. So I think that would be a really cool idea.
Interesting. So, for people watching or listening to this, interview, um, what do you think are some practical ways they can contribute to kind of achieve health equity in their own little communities where they are?
Yeah, so I think starting small definitely makes a difference. Like
Mhm.
I said, I just started by volunteering at my local, there's a foster care support center. So definitely finding those opportunities around you. There's probably food pantries, foster care, clinics that you can volunteer at. And I think that's definitely what sparked my interest at first. From home, you can donate period products, hygiene items, or even if you want to do a little large scale, hosting a drive at school can also go a long way. Adults, they can support local nonprofits through their time or their money. And I think the truth is that you don't really have to change the whole system to make a difference. And every little action that you do can chip away at the problem. So starting small is definitely what I would recommend if you want to get into something like this.
Terrific, terrific. So, where do you see yourself in the next 3, 5, 10 years?
Yeah, so I see myself as a physician who works at the intersection of medicine and public health. I definitely want to run clinics that focus on prevention and just bringing healthcare to those underserved communities that need them. And also creating like youth focused programs that are also culturally sensitive. And a big passion of mine is I really want to spend a year or so traveling around the world to rural areas and just providing access to basic healthcare where it's often hardest to reach, especially in my professional career. And this work has really shown me that medicine isn't just about curing, and it's honestly about breaking those barriers to access to healthcare before those problems even start. And my hope is that every patient that I have in the future will feel heard and cared for.
Nice. So you've been leading this initiative for the last 2, 3 years at least. So what's one big lesson that you have learned and gleaned out of it?
So I think the main lesson that I've learned is that you don't need to fix everything at once to make an impact. issues like these definitely seem like this big like whirlwind of different conflicts and problems that sometimes it's just hard to keep up with, and it can definitely feel overwhelming. But I have seen firsthand how even one donation or one drive or just even one conversation with someone who's going through these problems can make a very big difference.
Mm.
So I think that if you show up with consistency and the passion for attacking this issue, it definitely adds up. And I think that's something that I'll carry into my future in medicine and just in life in general.
Nice. Lasya, this was terrific. I'd love to have you for longer, but I think you've succinctly explained what you do and where you are going from here. I wish you all the best with your education, getting into medicine, completing that, and following your passion, going around the world to rural communities and helping underserved communities and especially children. Good luck to you. Godspeed, and wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining Southern Spice. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye bye. All right, so that was Lasya from Atlanta. Ladies and gentlemen, she's doing God's work. Support her. Watch this video and spread the word. Talk to more people about it. Let them know there are youngsters, kids, students in high school who are out there changing the world. On that note, this is your host, Venki, again signing off from Southern Spice. I'll come back to you with another episode very soon. Thank you. Take care.